Hey guys, welcome to another episode. We are on episode 2, and we've kind of figured out a name. And we're gonna be calling this the Anything But Everything podcast. So Arcee, man, how's it feel? We got a name
Yeah,
down, and
I don't, I don't know. It feels good. Feels legitimate now because like we have a name rather than just like we're just two guys speaking to a microphone and recording ourselves on
yeah.
a computer. But like now to actually have a name feels good. And let me tell you, from our little discussion earlier, this choosing a name thing was a lot easier than just the
Hmm.
current political kind of the election, because it was just
Yeah.
like, here's my stupid 20 requests, and then you're like, yeah, let's call it this. I'm like, dang it, that beats out. That sounds a lot better than mine, and let's just go with yours.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
voila.
it's sometimes names just come out of thin air and it just kind of works, and it's kind of like it's a definitely the theme of our podcast. So glad to get that out of the way, and just ready to move on to the next podcast thing that we have to think about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Uh, today we will be talking about Alex Trebek. So he passed away yesterday, right? Was it
It,
yesterday
it
or?
was it's within like, I think it was like either, I think it was like Monday or something. It was right after the weekend, or like the
Yeah.
news of the election, and we're like, oh yay, like this, everything is starting to get better uh,
Mm-hmm.
in our like political climate, and things are starting to look up, and then you get the news of
Yeah.
Alex Trebek.
It's hard these days to kind of all this news, and you just try to you try to figure out you know all the details and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, he passed away on Monday. He was 80 years old, and he fought for a long time. He had stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and we're what we want to do today is kind of talk about um, Alex Trebek and our experiences with the show Jeopardy, and then kind of talk about his legacy, just overall. So I'll start with you, Arcee. When did you find out about the news, and how did you find out about it? And I guess talk about what he meant to you in your childhood and all that.
Oh, yeah, I found out on Twitter, and it wasn't like one of those push notifications like legendary TV host passed. All I saw was our cousin Scott. He posted a
Hmm.
tweet, said, "Oh no, not Alex," and I was like, "What? Who's Alex?" And then that's when I started scrolling and like, "Oh no, 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 no,
Yeah, yeah.
no." So that's when I heard the news. But like I've had good memories with Alex Trebek. Like, I've never met the dude. A lot of people haven't met the dude, but like when you hear his voice, and his voice is very recognizable, you do kind of know that, like, oh, this is Jeopardy, and this is Alex Trebek. And I was actually looking at my memories on Instagram, and today marks the 5th year anniversary of my grandmother passing. And
Hmm.
one of the comments, or one of the captions that I put under the post that I did was like, "I'll never forget sitting in your living room watching Jeopardy with you." And I was like, man, that's just so weird that those, I don't know if it's coincidence or anything, but we're recording a podcast on the day with Alex Trebek having passed not so long ago. But to have it be like, you know what, this was my childhood. This is a guy that like shaped my evenings when families gathered around television and just forgot everything for a while just to watch television. Like we don't have that kind of experience today when everything streaming and whatnot, or everyone having miniature TVs in the palm of their hands. Like when you come from a family like a middle class family before cell phones and all that, and you just kind of, your plan was, okay, 7 o'clock's rolling around, let's all gather around for dinner or with each other, and then just like, let's just watch that back-to-back duo of Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. I'm like, well, those were good memories because like it was family time and all that. So what about you?
I mean, it was definitely the same thing. This was almost, I feel like, pre-internet, man. Like, and when internet really started, like when it was at its infancy, like you would just watch TV from 7 to like 10 o'clock, or 7 to 8, 7 to 9, however long you stayed up for. But yeah, I mean, the power hour was, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And I mean, to hear some of the stuff that, some of the producers and stuff like that, they said, and it was just, he's always like a mainstay. He was the heart of that show, and just sitting there and just trying to answer the questions, even though I'd probably get one out of, how many questions there were. It was still fun. Like, it was a nice mix of, I guess, from Wheel of Fortune, you had to guess like a phrase, but Jeopardy, you had to answer all these questions. So it was really cool. Like, me and my mom and Scott, we would just, just try to figure everything out. And it was just a lot of fun. That's pretty much my memories with it, and just kind of, just seeing what's I guess, I mean, what's happening. It's just kind of, it's kind of cool to go back to memory lane and stuff like that.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like Jeopardy was kind of like one of the last great game shows that actually dealt with challenging the audience and the contestant with like knowledge. Like you look at game shows today, and they mostly just have to deal with either dumb luck, pure luck, talent, or how hot you are, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like Jeopardy, actually dealt with like, let's see how much knowledge and let's put it to the test. And the fact that they formatted the show like they did with, okay, we're going to give you the answers first, and then you give us back in the form of a question, like, oh, well, that's a new concept, rather than just like, let's give it straightforward. Sometimes I would laugh when Alex Trebek would show the category and the answer, and then someone would give like, oh, it's this. Well, it's not in the form of a question, so you don't get it. And then next contestant would like come up right behind them and say, oh, it's Phoenix, Arizona, or what is Phoenix, Arizona? And they're like, yep, that's correct. So to having it be formatted in a form of a question is like, it's a backwards mentality. And I think that's what made it kind of unique. But I was looking out there, So like just some background, um, just a quick internet search. So the first version of Jeopardy ran from 1964 to 1975 and was first hosted by Alex Fleming. And um, Alex Trebek took over after Alex Fleming in like 1975, or don't correct me on it, or I think he took over in 1985.
Yeah,
My
something around. It's
mistake.
been like I think he
It's
said
like 30
been like
years.
37 years, I think.
Yeah. So oh, forgive me for my
It's okay.
mistake there.
It's
Dang
okay.
you, Wikipedia. You didn't
Somebody
match up the
changed
numbers. Yeah.
this. Somebody
Yeah, somebody
changed
changed
this.
this.
Someone's trolling
So
you.
yeah, so around like mid 80s, that's when Alex Trebek took over, and the
Hmm.
show has gone on for 37 seasons.
Yeah,
That's a long time.
8,000 episodes, eight
Yeah.
thousand plus episodes. His last episode was actually shot in October of this year,
Hmm.
which will actually air on Christmas. That's from what I heard from the producers. So he was working all the way up to, when he passed away, which is just such a testament to him just trying to, how much he loves Jeopardy and just the process and the people and the fans.
Hmm.
Because he could have just, could have just gone on to better things. He was really one of the, top game show hosts. He could have easily got, you know, a lot of money to go somewhere else, but it was just his baby. It was just kind of,
Yeah.
he was so, he was such a part of that show that, it wouldn't even be the same, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because like I don't know much about Alex Trebek's like the man, like
Hmm.
his off work personality, but the
Hmm.
fact that he stayed around for 37 seasons for that long, I think, is a testament to his character. And um, it you kind of symbolize or synonymize Jeopardy with Alex Trebek. Like if I were to word associate um, Wheel of Fortune with you, what would be?
I mean, it's Pat Sajak.
Yeah,
It's Vanna White. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So if you think of Jeopardy, you automatically think of Alex Trebek and not anyone else. Not that
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't I don't think anyone else has hosted
No, yeah.
Jeopardy or
You wouldn't think of any of the winners. It would just be Alex Trebek. Like, that's the first thing.
yeah,
And if you thought really hard, you probably think of something else, but that's the first thing.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's an amazing thing because like if you, I'm looking at um, some other shows that have gone on a long time, like The Price is Right. It says 47 seasons, so that's incredible.
Hmm.
But like other than that, it in terms of like what the game show of Jeopardy was, it's really stood on its own. Yeah, because all the other game shows are like Amazing Race, Survivor, uh, America's Got Talent. A lot of they're not in that format of let's do a rapid fire question and answer game
Yeah.
show and all that. So
Yeah, I mean, to keep its spot, like 7:30, it's still 7:30,
yeah,
and every night it never changed. Network producers could have been, hey, let's move Jeopardy to maybe like 8, like maybe 6:30,
hmm,
but it's always been those two shows. Like, those
yeah,
were the mainstays, even to, like, even today. So it's like a piece of our childhood is still going on. With everything else that's changed around it, it's still there. You can
yeah,
turn on the TV to NBC and just,
yeah.
watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy.
Because I remember when I was with my grandparents when they used to babysit my brother and I. So like that kind of primetime television block was like, okay, you got your 6 o'clock evening news, you got your CBS news at like
Hmm.
6:30, and then you had and then you heard uh, that Jeopardy theme song come on, and they're like, man, this is when people had the attention span to sit in front of a television for uh 2 hours without like distractions like phones and whatnot. It was just like, oh, you went to the bathroom during commercial break and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like that was the only distraction. Other than that, when you heard like now we're going into the second daily double or
yeah, yeah,
second round of stuff. But
yeah. I mean, also, I mean, we have to touch upon. I mean, I think you talked about it a little bit, but Jeopardy being a smart show, uh, you know, making intelligence feel cool,
yeah,
smart people just feel like they have an outlet to kind of, it was their show, and it was that's why it was so cool for, my family to watch it because I mean, if we got one question right, we'd be like, yes, like
yeah,
I know that question. And
yeah,
then you see the contestants get it wrong, and you're like, what? So it's like it was 30 minutes to just test yourself, even though you weren't really going super serious. But it's just cool to have all these different questions, from the video daily doubles to the final Jeopardy,
hmm,
just for 30 minutes just to kind of just see how much you know. And it was really an outlet and we really got to meet a lot of, I mean, not only just, Alex Trebek, but just different people,
hmm,
different walks of life, different people from different backgrounds, colleges. And, you would also see if that same person, if they won, are they coming back the next day to win it again?
yeah,
And so on and so forth. So, we do have to mention Ken Jennings. He was probably the most famous one out of all the Jeopardy winners. It was just kind of like one of those things where he went on that streak, and everyone was kind of tuning in to see how far he could go.
hmm,
Um, so yeah, that was one of my kind of biggest memories with Jeopardy is following that streak and just seeing everyone excited about Jeopardy again because it was some pretty major news how he was doing in Jeopardy.
yeah, yeah. Like bringing up the news when Alex Trebek announced that he had cancer. Like just you saw the outpouring of support and love for him, even to the
Hmm.
point where like a guy on Jeopardy purposely got his final Jeopardy answer
Yeah, yeah,
uh, or wrong, just to
yeah.
send a message to Alex Trebek saying like, "Hey, we love you," and then
Hmm.
like, well,
Yeah, he got choked up and stuff.
yeah, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like, well, it's wrong, and you just lost all your money, but thank you. But like the
yeah,
fact
yeah,
that the dude would sacrifice all that earnings just to say like, "Hey, we love you, Alex Trebek," like that's a testament to a man who has like shaped a lot of people's memories and all that. So
yeah. I mean, for some of these people, it's, I mean, it's for us, it's like something else, but to other people it's like I want to be on this show. Like this is
yeah,
one of my dreams is to answer questions, be part of Jeopardy, and just meet Alex Trebek. And
hmm,
you know seeing all the yeah again seeing all the outpour of not only contestants but people that he's come across with. It's pretty amazing, a game show host like that could just have all that love and support, um,
yeah, and
around that.
he wasn't like a celebrity figure like an Ellen DeGeneres on that level or Steve Harvey. He was just like, oh no, he's just
Yeah,
Alex Trebek.
he was pretty much a private guy. He really it took a I mean it took a while for him to kind of say that he was stage 4 cancer. He was kind of, I guess he was kind of hesitant, but he did the interview when he announced it, and he announced it on Jeopardy. And he's been pretty much a private person. Like, I think he just finished his book, maybe about a couple months ago, or it just came out or something like that. But it was, it was good that he actually got to write his story about him, write the way he wanted to write it, before he passed away. Because not a lot of people get to do that. So
Yeah.
that's just another thing.
Yeah. Like I doubt I'll see the memoirs of Vanna White or Bob Barker, or maybe there is a book out there like
Yeah,
like
but it's
behind the
just like,
scenes of this game show. So.
yeah, but I mean, like, I guess he got to tell it. Like, I guess, some biographies have other people who tell their stories, but he's the one who got to tell his, obviously with the help of other people, but,
Mm-hmm.
he got to see that process through.
Yeah. And like so like moving to like this idea of legacy, like of his influence on not just our generation of people who watch TV, or TV was a part of our daily life, but like um, moving forward, do you think there will be someone elected to replace Alex Trebek, or do you think Jeopardy should just end right there? Like, let's end off with
Uh-huh.
with Alex Trebek hosting, and leave it at that.
I mean, with Jeopardy, I feel like after the Christmas episode, which is pretty much his last episode, they have some time. They have some time to think about how they want to approach it. Because the game will always be the same, but the host will dictate, the next phase of Jeopardy. There are people putting out suggestions yesterday on Twitter, like Ken Jennings should be the host, or Alex Trebek. I saw an interview he did with Good Morning America, I think, and he was like, the guy was like, the interviewer, he said, like, when are you going to step down? Like, if you had, because he never wanted to step down, but he asked the question, like, if he were to pick someone to take over, who would it be? And he said Betty White. So
Oh, yeah,
if that was, I mean, Betty White would be cool,
yeah,
because they're actually pretty good friends. So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like Jeopardy should go on just to keep Trebek's legacy. You
mm-hmm.
know, uh, finding the host is definitely the most difficult part. I mean, I don't know if they should take a hiatus for a little bit just to kind of um, kind of look at it in a different angle.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I feel like they should keep Jeopardy going, and whoever they find as their host, I mean,
yeah,
they should keep it going. It's the mantle, like, that's if you want to keep Trebek's spirit alive, you keep that show.
yeah. You
Yeah,
answer in the form of a question for real life. Let's just
yeah,
if you're in an interview, you just answer your questions in form of a question. You'll
yeah.
definitely do all right if you do that.
Hmm.
But yeah, like in terms of his legacy, uh, the show Jeopardy is pretty much been seen in, or has made an appearance on, like shows like The Simpsons. It's been spoofed famously on Saturday Night Live by Will Ferrell.
Yep.
Um, so you don't just see Jeopardy as like, oh, this kind of small game show, but the fact that it has this cultural influence that you would see on TV is like, that says something about like like what the
Yeah.
show is, because if you think of it conceptually, like it's just rapid fire questions, and you have 30 minutes, and boom, you're on to the next show. But the fact that it ran for so long, it was a cornerstone for a lot of people's childhoods, and then to see it kind of honored or mentioned in other shows is like, man, that says something. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen a spoof of any other game shows besides like Family Feud on Saturday Night Live. But the fact that Jeopardy had like a little segment on The Simpsons,
Yeah.
or you can also associate Alex Trebek with Will Ferrell's character and all that.
Hmm.
So that's a good legacy for it.
Oh yeah, like I saw the SNL episode where it was the rock and roll episode where they had Sean Connery, which was made no sense, but it was still funny. Every time I see Sean Connery, it was it Daryl Hammond who did Sean Connery,
Yeah.
and you had I think or someone did Bjork. I think it was Winona Ryder. I'm not sure. And then Jimmy Fallon was doing Dave Matthews Band, and pretty much at the end of the episode, uh, they were going to do Final Jeopardy, and then Alex Trebek comes out of nowhere, and he's talking with Will, and he basically signs off like, you know. So they didn't do Final Jeopardy. It was just Alex just saying like, hey, let's just sign off and have a good night, and that's it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that was weird, but I mean, it was cool. Like, cool to see, Alex Trebek and Will Ferrell together. But just going up, just kind of touching upon, I mean, Jeopardy needs to stay. Like, there's so many people that didn't get to meet Alex, but still want to go to Jeopardy and just kind of be there and just, I don't know. It's just it wouldn't. It's one of the only smart shows on television that
Yeah.
has trivia, and it's just kind of it's almost a relic of the times. Like maybe 5-10 years from now, if I have kids, I can actually show them. Hopefully, I can show them Jeopardy. Like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
these are one of the shows that I used to watch when I was a kid. Because there's shows now that that I've watched when I was a kid that are gone, and this is one of the
Mhm.
few shows that are kind of left that I can tell my kids or whatever, like, this is what I used to watch, and maybe we might have that moment where it's like, hey, let's watch this episode and see if we can answer all the questions.
Yeah. The I just found out today was like, oh, Jeopardy's on Netflix. You
Oh,
can
for
actually
real?
watch Jeopardy episodes on Netflix, or I don't know if it's something a special or some temporary thing that Netflix is
Hmm.
doing. But I was scrolling through my feed on Netflix, and I came across Jeopardy. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I might be interested in digging into the old archives of Jeopardy. Maybe I'll find ones that like watched when I was a kid. But the fact that, like, okay, you have that well that you can dig into now, so
Hmm.
that's just an even uh
Yeah.
more way to get that Jeopardy in your life. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's going to be rebooted, like everything gets rebooted in time, but
Yeah.
for our generation, and for at least today's generation, they had that kind of experience with Alex Trebek. I don't know what tomorrow's generation, who the next Alex Trebek is going to be, and if they how they influence um, their lives. But the fact that we had 30 plus years of one man doing this show says a lot. So
Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, it's going to be hard to find the next Alex Trebek because you have to find a guy who was really into a game show that you know, he really believed in it. And
Mhm.
it's today, in today's, like, I guess, yeah, I don't know, it's gonna be hard because, you know, like I was kind of thinking about this during when I was at work. Like, what's the Mount Rushmore of game show hosts, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Alex Trebek is definitely number one. Um, Pat Sajak, Bob Barker,
Yeah.
and then four was kind of interchangeable. Like, remember Mark Meadows? Mark Meadows from Double Dare.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
No,
I mean, yeah.
it should
Go
be
ahead.
like you ever watch on Comedy Central? They had a show called "Win Ben Stein's Money," and
Oh
this
yeah.
is when Jimmy
Okay.
Kimmel
Okay.
was coming up. He was like the sidekick, but you had Ben Stein, and that was also a question answer based kind of game. But I was like, you know what? I really had a lot of fun with that show. That show came on at 8 because my brother and I would always time our bedtimes to win Ben Stein's money, and like, you know
When
that.
Ben, that was a good show. I totally
Yeah,
forgot about that.
yeah. So if Jeopardy ever gets rebooted, I'm like, well, let's bring back Ben Stein. It'll be the
Yeah,
most
what's he doing?
monotone game show ever, but like it'll be good to kind of merge those two worlds together.
That's kind of, I mean, that would be kind of the closest to Alex Trebek, because just the way Alex, like, the way he talked, his inflection, you know, he seemed like he was just he was on point.
Yeah,
Like you knew that he knew the answer, but, like, you know, he wanted to. It was almost a challenge. You know, you always
yeah,
thought Alex Trebek was the smartest man in that room there.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, you know, you'd have to get an equally smart guy to fill in the shoes. That's why people were like Ken Jennings or that guy who won $1 million. But it's going to be tough either way. Like,
yeah,
whoever they choose, because it's just going to be, you know, it'll be kind of tough to kind of watch it without him being at the helm.
yeah, yeah. But do you have any final thoughts on Jeopardy? Like like any
Um,
final words before we send Alex Trebek into that good night?
man, like, it's been a rough 2020, man. It's
Yeah,
you.
dang.
I mean, last week. I mean, not the. I mean, we lost Sean Connery. What, like a 2 week, almost
Oh
two
no,
weeks, or
like
maybe a week
it's
ago, right?
yeah, it's like in this entire week we
Yeah,
had our ups and downs in terms of election
really.
and then losing some
Some
celebrity
very important
icons.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are icons. Like, Alex Trebek is an icon. Does he have his? I don't know if he does. He have a Hollywood star?
I'm sure
Like,
he does. I
he
like
probably does. He
if
probably does.
he probably
But
does, yeah. There's probably a
I hope he
statue
can.
of him in his hometown or something. Or
Yeah,
should
yeah.
be. I don't know.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, pretty much I kind of covered everything I want to talk about. It's just kind of, you know, another gut punch, man. Like, it's getting a little too tough. I'm ready for this year to be over.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool to kind of go back and talk about Jeopardy. You know, you kind of just have those type of memories kind of stored away somewhere, and when something like this happens, it kind of just brings everything back, and you start to feel like wow, like he was actually in my life for my whole entire life right now. um and just to hear everyone's, like, their stories and how hard he worked is just, I don't think you'll find another show host like that in our lifetime. I mean, he might go down as, you know, you know, probably the best game show host ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even Regis Philbin for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire eventually got replaced, or I mean
Yeah,
they're continuing on that game show in name, but the person that really made that is like they have already moved on.
Hmm.
But Alex Trebek, Jeopardy, they're
They're
symbiotic to each
synonymous,
other.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You can't have one without the other, which, hopefully Jeopardy, comes back from this stronger, but it's definitely going to be tough, um, you know, once they get back going.
Yeah. So yeah. With that, like, thank you, Jeopardy, thank you, Alex Trebek,
Thank
for
you, Alex.
thank you.
Thanks for
Hashtag
the memories.
we love you, Alex. Hashtag Final Jeopardy. Hashtag it must be in the form of a question, and I'll have to. But yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening to our second episode of Anything But Everything.
Ooh,
We will
say
be
that again. Say that again.
Anything But Everything,
Yeah.
episode 2. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And until next time, we will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Peace.